Welcome to part 4 of 5 of our IKEA kitchen installation series. Part 4, what we're covering today is installing the drawers, building the drawers, installing some of the corner cabinets, the doors, hinges, soft closes, making all the adjustments to all that stuff. This episode, as you watch it, by the time you get to the end, you're gonna realize how genius the IKEA system is. Like the drawers, for example, everything is fully adjustable. I've seen full on like custom cabinets where you just mount the front onto a box. But if you want to make small adjustments, it's too hard. You have to go in, pull the drawer out, adjust it with some screws, put it back in, and it's very hard to do on a custom cabinet. Whereas IKEA, it's all built in. They have rails, everything's adjustable, side to side, up and down, you can tilt it, all that. Even just adding soft close, like everyone thinks, oh, it's like a magical upgrade to have soft close. Well, IKEA, you just clip on a little attachment and the doors are soft close, and same with the drawers. It's just a little clip it on and then you have that cool feature, right? So everything is just built in, and everything is, if you don't like a certain part about your setup, like, oh, I don't like these 3 drawers, I want 2 big deep drawers. Okay, just switch everything out. You know, it's pretty simple. Now, just to kind of give you a run through, part 1, we talked fairly quickly about just how to design your kitchen. Part 2 was setting, we customize our bases, we do a plywood base. Just showed you how to figure all that out. Part 3 was setting the cabinets and then doing all the filler panels and stuff like that. So that was part 3, and now we're on to part 4. Let's get into it. Now, on part 2, I showed you how to set the bases, how to figure out the heights and the sizes and all that based on your cabinet layout. And then we did some offsets or some back sets depending on where we were going. So one example of a back set is right here. This is where our stove goes. Now, I could have done this base cabinet where it was flush with the box, but then you would have, when you pulled your stove out, you would have seen this plywood base. Now, on episode 2, I don't know if that was visual enough, if you could actually understand what I was trying to get at. So what I've done here, and this is just kind of an extra custom flare that we're doing, is I've just set those back 5/8 of an inch. Now with those, when I set them back, I like to set them back just a little bit more than the thickness of my filler material. Now, yeah, I'll say it again, but this is just a custom thing that I do. To do my finished toe kicks, I actually just rip down filler panel, and then I can glue or brad nail it to my bases. Because I've adapted the system a little bit, I know how I like to use it. I've set this back, but these panels are 9/16. But I like to set my base back a little extra just because I don't want this sticking out past. The reason I'm doing this is just so that it looks a little more polished when I pull the stove out. But you can get, this is where I'm going with it, is I can install that like so. Obviously I gotta wait for my flooring to be done, but I just wanted to throw this in here quick just to show you guys. So the other thing, like I've said a couple times, is finished edge down. So that way if I get a water spill, I'm not soaking up material into my cut edge. So when I'm cutting all my material, finished edge down, finished edge to the front, then I measure my base, and I've got it measured out at 20 13/16. So let me just buzz this, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna overlap the corners. And I just plan out all my toe kicks, and I just overlap the corners. I do butt ends, I don't do miters or anything. And that way I just always have a finished edge happening. I wish I could have thrown this at the beginning of the video, but I did plan ahead because I've installed a few kitchens like I told you about. I just bought some of these Voxtorp white filler panels, and that's what we used just to fill these sides in. So the sides by the stove and the sides by the dishwasher. That's cut. Like I said, those will go in later. And then what I did is actually I pulled my tape measure from the wall to the edge of the cabinet, because this will be in about a 1/16, but I can overlap this toe kick just a little bit I'll have to just shave a little hair off. I can see that top edge, just so it's nice and flush. When you throw your stove in, there's no gaps. Now let's say your base, you want to be extra safe and you're in an extra 1/2 inch. You have a couple options. You can throw on an extra strip of plywood and install this so it's a little more flush. Or let's say it looked like that and it was way under. Just overhang this one so that when you look from the front, it looks like this is all flush up this side. And that's just a few tips. Same with all the filler panels. Like when we were in part 3, is always just plan out how you're going to do your cuts so that you always have a factory edge somewhere, and the cut edge is on the least visible side, just like we showed you here. We've touched on that. Now let's get into doing some finishing. A good rule of practice when you're installing your IKEA kitchen is when you build a cabinet box, keep the instructions with it. Same goes with all the parts. We've kept and just kind of got into a habit of keeping all the parts with each cabinet. Once we get into the drawers and stuff, you'll see how valuable that is as well. So what we forgot to do the other day, well, not necessarily forgot, but just something that I want to catch up now so I don't forget later before cabinets go in, are these little clips. And these are there just because we've spaced everything else out, like right here. Because this bar adds 1/8 of an inch, and because this corner bracket adds a little space, once again, they've impressed us with just adding these little clips. As you can see at the back, add those in. That way everything, your countertops and everything, sit at the same height. So I'm gonna just throw this one in. I like that feature. I like that they thought about that. Another thing that I find, and it's one of those things I've installed a few now, I remember to order these. These brackets are called a fixa. They are what IKEA will basically recommend that you use when you're installing granite or quartz or something like that. But I like it for installing like arborite countertops as well. And it's just spacing everything up properly. And essentially they sit like that. And it just spaces the countertop. If you have arborite, not that it would sag, but it could. So these just space everything nice. So I like to order those for all the cabinets as well. And yeah, you just use the factory holes, follow the instructions. The other thing a guy could do, if you got real fancy, you could flip them the other way, and that way you had something to fasten up into your underside of your countertop. But you can already do that. You can do it on the front metal rails, and you can do it anywhere at the back too. So, but just something to think about, you know. I like to customize things and I like to tweak it and make it my own. All right, so I've kept my instructions here. I'll keep them in place. Now we have this Trusta. I don't know how to say any of their words. This is that carousel that goes in this corner cabinet. Like I said, that half moon. Let's get that installed. We'll show you how to do that. According to the directions, we had to install the door first. So we have our instructions for the carousel. It shows right off the hop. You can see in the pictures that the cabinet door is already installed. Now one thing, and this is a good clue for all your other installs, it shows what parts are available. But next, if you look carefully, it shows the left cabinet style or the door on the right. Now the door on the right, if that's your setup, go to page 15. If the door's on the left, like we are, it just says follow down here. And then you see points, hinges, door are in place. Next step, we install this template. One thing I'll say, in the actual cabinet booklet, it shows an extra strip that goes in behind this one, how to install that. it does just show you that, just to let you know. But you can, if you just follow the instructions, you'll find all that. Alrighty. So if you just look closely, their pictures are actually very well done. We'll set this template here. And yeah, you basically got to learn with me as we go, which is a nice way to do it. You can see me make my mistakes too. Now, like I said, you got to look for clues, and they make it pretty clear. It shows you which direction to point this baby. So we got that little niblet towards the front. And also shows you which screws to use, not the pan heads, but more of the flathead style of screw. One trick that I've learned over the years, if you're unsure of where the location of this is going, just put 2 screws in, and that way if you mess it up, you can move it. You still have other screw holes that can still be used later on. If you fill up every hole of this template and you have to move it 1/8 of an inch, it's too hard to move after that if all 4 holes are punched into it. So just follow the instructions along, and it shows these plastic clips here, and it has an R on it for right, and I'm just going to follow what they said. So these little pins go in to set your heights, and it just locks in on the R position. So that's way so it'll function properly. So we tip it in like so. Now only use a power drill if you're confident with your controls, because you can spin those out. So if you're unsure, just use a screwdriver. Okay. We have the carousels pre-built. Like I said, I think you guys can follow through, get all the instructions down pat. I'll give you lots of nice clues. Next, let's go get them and throw them in. It's fun when you discover all these cool little things as you start installing. Even these, the way these spin, I was like, how does these carousels actually function? But this closes on its own, right? It's cool how that works. Then even this, when we install this, it has holes at the top. That way you're not trying to hold the thing. I'm like, how am I going to install that? It's going to be hard. Well, they thought of it. It just hooks in. I don't have to struggle with it. Now I just place the screws so it doesn't lift off by accident. Gentle. Now what I could do is, before I get loaded up with 300 cans of goods, come on, that wasn't the smoothest. Now this is what I love about these corner cabinets. You can access the full inside corner. You don't need to get on your hands and knees and poke your head up inside the Lazy Susan. It's just full access to the inside corner. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Now that that's done, let's jump on to drawers. Another great use for these fixer brackets that are typically used for the granite and the quartz tops, just where my dishwasher goes. I want a little extra protection, and they call it a cleat, but it just keeps it nice and small, because my dishwasher needs as max amount of space as possible. But I'll just set this to this line, and then that just helps support countertops. So it's just another good use for these fixer brackets. we're on to drawers, and we're working on this middle cabinet of the peninsula. And why this is important is we will refer to more of our drawings and sketches and assembly list when we're building everything. And as you can see over here, we've already installed some of our rails on our other boxes, but we just want to show you how we get there. So follow me and we'll show you the setup. This is our setup. We have everything laid out. Now, this diagram is going to be important. It's probably too hard to tell, but we're on cabinet number 9, and it's just that tiny little orange writing. It's hard to see. Now, they're all technically the same, but you know, if you kind of use your assembly list and you use your diagrams and cross-reference, it's easier to keep all the parts organized and together. So here's our assembly list, which is basically gospel, right from step 1 till now. Just keep it so handy. So we're gonna go to cabinet number 9, and it tells you everything that you need. So we need a section, base cabinet, 30 by 24 by 30, and then it tells you what drawer fronts we need. We need 3, don't know how to say it, drawer front, 30 inches wide, 10 inches high. So 3 of them, 10, 20, 30 is a 30-inch high base cabinet. Then it tells you we have 2, the Maximaras drawer, the Loaf styles, and 2 Maximara mediums. Okay, so that's going to come in handy because every box will have a part number, and that part number references to a low, medium, or high drawer, which you need to keep organized because they come in different parts, as you see when we install this. If I don't stand corrected, IKEA at one time had 2 options for drawers. Just stay with the Maximara. It's the full depth drawer. Don't use anything else. These are the best. As per usual, we have all of our parts, and it just shows you how to assemble it all. But we're just going to show you the real life method. Keep in mind, as we go through it, this is our setup. So we have the 3 even-sized drawers, and yeah, you got to go back to part 1 where if you want to go through, and you got to go through the IKEA planner, and you get to see all the different options for all the drawers. There's 2 big ones. In our scenario, we have the 3 fronts, but we have a 4th hidden drawer at the top. But like, we just have clues everywhere. We got to zip to page 14 for this. And then we begin. So if you look, the tag on the drawer is always to the bottom. And then it just shows you what position to place everything. So from your viewpoint, we got the tag down here. We need these little clippies. Now the girl that works for me, who's done a lot of basically the installation of the doors and the drawers and builds a lot of this stuff for me, she showed me a few little tricks to tell you guys as well. And one is the fact that you got to keep in mind that sometimes you use these holes on the bottom of the bracket, but depending on the drawer, sometimes, well, you'll either use this set of holes or this set for a low, medium, or high. But sometimes instead of using the bracket like this, you actually use this top hole here, and then this second hole lands up there. So just kind of look at the diagrams in your instructions, keep all your instructions together in the same drawers, and just try to stay organized if you can. But let's throw this bad boy together. So these clips, I just need to verify which location they go in. We'll show you what those are for, but those are going to be super handy down the road. Rookie move. Now that we have our parts on our drawer front, now we actually put the drawer together. And as always, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but just look at the diagrams. This groove accepts the bottom shelf. So that goes to the bottom. Then we just clip these side rails onto that. So there's two holes here, and then there's two clips. Right, one here and one clip there. And everything just snaps together. Snap. We're gonna do this one. I have my drawer front in the way, or I have my bottom in the way. Okay, that's easy. Snap those in. Now with the bottom of the drawer, just keep in mind the cut edge goes at the back, and then the finished edge stays to the front. And then, yeah, these grooves are at the bottom, and if you look closely right here, they glide upon those, and yeah, it actually fits together very well. I'm just gonna get that started, and I'm just gonna stand it up, and I'm just gonna try to slide the sides down at the same rate. There. Now this is the back. They do send a screw to plug into there, which we'll do that now before we forget. Okay, we're almost there. Time to snap the front on. And it snaps in like so. Then we'll finish putting the accessories on. Let's do that. Just don't forget, there is a way to unclip all this, and we'll show you that as well. But let's just finish the drawer here first. Spin that so you can see it. So these handy devices are rails. They also serve to be able to pull this drawer front in and out. It's part of the adjustment system by spinning this device. So we'll just spin that around. They have left and right sides, and I'll just snap this. So this little piece here just clips into this little notch out in the back metal bracket. Before you snap these in, note that this is the left side, which you should be able to tell from your view. Left is over there. Roll that into position. I'll just roll this right one quick. And then these just clip into the front. Same back here, just clip those in. Then we got to put these cover clips on. And the solid part goes to the bottom. Like so. And then at the end of the day, that slides over and it covers everything. But if you need to make an adjustment, you simply just pull this back, turn this, and it'll pull this drawer front that direction. And last step, let's not forget to throw these in at the bottom. And this just gives the front of the drawer support so that over the years it doesn't bow forward or break off. Upon your IKEA kitchen install, if you messed up or one of the drawers isn't in the right position, I'll show you how to pop the drawer front off of the rest of the drawer. Now right in here, there's a Phillips shape, a star shaped slot just in behind this little bracket. We want to get our screwdriver in there. And well, actually I got to pull this back, unclip that, rotate it to the left, and that's how it pops the drawer off. The other side's connected so it won't fully disconnect, but that's how it's done. You just do that and then you can pull the front off. And then while we're here, this location is for adjustments, and so is this set screw back here. And that's how these drawers are fully adjustable. You can actually adjust this front left, right, up, down, and you can tilt it this way and this way like we already discussed. So we'll snap that all back together. That's how the drawers work. But once we get into actually installing the drawers, I'll show you how the adjustments all work. But at the end of the day, if you need to fix something on the drawers, don't panic. You can adjust it, take them apart, and redeem yourself. Okay, that drawer that we just built, and this part is very, very important. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. There's just small clues, like I said, in all these books, and as we've installed, we realize, okay, you got to be just kind of on the ball, and I'll show you how to understand the instruction booklets. Let's actually go back to the beginning. Here's our Maximera instruction manual. It shows you your parts. Now, we're building 3 even-sized drawers. We want to go to page 14 to learn the information about that. We're on page 14 right now. Okay. Now right here, this shadowed part is the bottom drawer. That's the one that we just set up. Now it tells you where to put the screws in association with all the clips and all of that. Right, so we went through that for that drawer. Now we want to build, so I have the bottom built, I want to build the middle and the top, but they're slightly different. Remember how I said just some of the screw spacing? So let's just show you how to understand this. We want to build the middle and the top drawer. Go to page 22. Right, we're on page 22. We have our drawer, the tag is to the bottom. Now if you look carefully, this bracket, the screws show going through the top hole and the middle one. And that's what we're going to do. Top and middle. Top and middle. And it's just a slight difference, but everything is in relation to something else. So it all depends on your drawer configuration. But let's just do that. So those are in, and we did that by following this diagram here. Now these clips for the rails, we get to install those, and just notice the subtle difference as well, the top and the middle. So we'll just place those and get those in position. Okay, time to clip this together quick. Then I'll just snap this into position, snap this little cover, slide that in. And then before we move this, we're just going to label it with some masking tape, drawer number 9, middle. Then the next drawer we build, drawer number 9, top. Everything's organized. Then when we go to do our rails, we'll install those as per directions. And then at the end of the day, everything just pops in really easy. Now we're on to setting rails. And I'm gonna say it again, keep all your parts together, because as we build the lower drawers, The lower drawers are designed and typically have more weight, so the bottom too. So these glides or slides come with the bottom 2 drawers, and they actually have the orange inside, which basically there's heavy material. That's usually where you have your pots and pans, right? So if you keep everything together, then the system is gonna function the way it was designed to function. Now, we have 2 sets of instructions, both Maximera. This one here, we are on, remember, the 3 equal-sized fronts, and it tells you what spacings from the bottom to set your screw holes. So this bottom one is 2, this one is 9, and we'll get into that. Now, what we've done here is, because we have that hidden top 4th drawer, we just had to get the spacing sizes over here, which just kind of shows the outline of the 4th hidden drawer, and it shows us number 21. Okay, and then just for sake of being, for the sake of clarity, we're gonna get back into this one. I'm gonna hit this broken record lots. 3 even size fronts, page 14. We're gonna go to page 14. We're gonna skip through it, and we're gonna say, okay, here's our rails. We're gonna use the front hole and this one, but we're using the higher up set. And then when we refer to the other sheet, we're on the 2nd hole. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make some real light pencil marks. I'm gonna count the holes out so I know what I'm doing here. So I'll just go 2nd. I'm just gonna make a little tick, because when you hold this up, it'll sit like that. So I just need to make a little tick, not too dark. And I'll just count all the holes out in all my spacings, and I'll do that, and then everything's easy. I don't have to try to count once rails are in position. So 1, 2, next one is 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 17, so that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I'm just going to follow the screw pattern that they tell me to. So it shows I'm going to use 2 on the front. I'll just do that one for now. Then this other hole back here, it should be the back hole as the diagram, and that's right. So lift that up. And then I'll just put this 2nd one in up top here, over here. Okay, for the 2nd rail, I just want to confirm the spacings on the rails. So we started off as page 14. We'll flip to page 22 because we're working on the other 2 drawers. Do that. And then I'll just flip through and find the rails and the screw placement, which is right here. And then it's telling me to use the bottom holes of the rail. So it's just that little subtle difference. So that's what we're gonna do here. The book tells me to use the bottom holes. Here's my mark. And then, because these are heavier drawers, they need extra fasteners. So here's our mark for the other rail. And the book's telling us to use the bottom holes, so that's what we'll do. Sometimes what I like to do is actually just let that rest down. I'm not trying to hold the whole thing up. And then because I'm using the bottom hole, I just shove this glide forward a bit so my screw gun can get in there. And there. You just want to follow all the directions and make sure you're doing things. Those subtle differences can throw you off, and you know, maybe I suggest is just doing one box one set of drawers, making sure that everything goes smoothly for you, and then proceeding on, rather than installing all the rails. And if you made a mistake, then all of a sudden it's like, oh darn, I gotta change all the rails on the whole kitchen. So if you're unsure, just work one box at a time or one cabinet at a time. On the next page, it shows us just to add a few extra screws for longevity. So if you look here on the front, you move forward, we gotta just put one on the front hole at the top, and then at the back set of holes, one just above the other one. And those, if you look carefully, are a flathead screw. And we'll just do what we're told. Time to set the last drawer, the top one that's hidden. Now just a small little detail to note here. On the instructions, it shows this is the drawer, the dashed one. Notice how it's just pushed back from the front. And that's just to show, you have to push it back so the front of the drawer stays behind the actual finished drawer front. And if you look just carefully before we install, there's little screw marks. It shows little X's where the screws go. So the bottom row of screws in the middles on the 21st row. So let's do that. Okay, now let's show you the soft close. We kind of skipped over that. It does show it in the instructions, but this is what the soft close looks like. This little gadget here. They do pop on and off if you need to, but this is it here. So with just the click of this little device, now you have that really neat feature of the soft close. Bottom drawer is labeled, ready to go in. Just set it down on the rail, gently put it on, and then I like to just pull it all the way out and give it a test run. Now here's to see if we read and understood the directions and instructions properly. We paid attention to our screw spacing, so let's see if all that hard work paid off. And yes, nothing collides with each other. You got to do the hidden drawer before anything else. Test run. And then just note that this is our top drawer. It doesn't have that side rail. And that's why it's important to keep everything organized as you go together. The top doesn't have that adjustment rail at the top. And this is why, because we have the hidden drawer above it. So I'll place that in. Done. Now that they're installed, now that the drawers are in, let's show you how to remove them, because that's some useful knowledge. Just pull the drawer all the way out, lift it up ever so slightly, and then don't force it, but it should just slide forward and then off. And then back on. Set it on the rails. Make sure you hold the front so it doesn't fall forward and onto the ground. Done deal. I have my instruction book open now, and we'll show you how to make the adjustments too. So this is how you adjust the drawers. This screw allows the front to actually move up or down. You just, by turning that one way or another, you can actually feel it go click, 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 and that's moving it down. And then to the left is moving it back up. And then this one, this actually moves it left to right. So when I adjust that, it actually moves the whole drawer front left to right. And no other system out there has that. It's just such a beauty, simple, and just such an awesome feature. So at the end of the day, you want to just make all your adjustments, and then they have these clips that cover it all. So those adjustments we just talked about, you do those at the very end, and it's just to line everything up. You want to line these doors up, and you want to line them up this way. So that gives you that allowance left, right, up, down, and then those rails can actually spin it front to back. So it's there just to fine tune and make it look like a so good. We're starting to install hinges on the doors. Another genius setup. You simply just press this into the door. Make sure it's pushed down all the way first. Push it down. You don't even need to screw it. You just snap that down and it's pressure fit. Now let's install the other half of the hinges. These are your little instructions. The only thing I'd really have to point out that's kind of critical with these is that arrow points forward. Here's that arrow right there, very subtle. Put those forward. Now you might be saying, okay, well, how do I know the location? I just do it the simplified way. You can find it in the instructions. I usually just hold the door up. And if you look, like from the top, I'm the second row down, and from the bottom, I'm just the second row up. So you see that? We just hold the door up. So just second row on either end. We'll pop those in. Okay, arrow to the outside, or arrow point towards me. Just make sure they're pressed in all the way. And be gentle with your drill. Arrow to the face, arrow towards me. And then to install the door, there's a little bar right here, if you can see that. That goes in first. There's a little groove. Then you snap it in at the back, but I probably should just do the snap, snap. Now to take them off, there's just a little lever on the back here. So let's pull it off and we'll show you it. Yeah, to take them off, just pull that little lever. Get that little bar into the groove, snappy, snap, and then these screws allow for adjustment as well. So these doors are fully adjustable, forward, back, and you can tilt them so that you can adjust them any which way. Here's our soft close device, and that just clips onto the hinge. So it actually goes into that square groove. Kind of want to put this face in first, like the forward part, and then pull toward yourself and in. Too strong for my own good. Okay, just like so, just like that. Now you have the soft close feature. And unless you have a super heavy door, usually just one on the bottom should work. Just a quick little adjustment note. If you look over here, the door isn't closing yet. And it's just because we need to raise it up and possibly just pull the right hand at the top and just pull it in. So let's just show you quick. We won't do a full adjustment right now. We'll save that to the end. We'll just show you a couple of little tricks here on how to adjust these doors. Okay, the one at the back pulls it in or out. So I'll just show you a little sample of that. Right now it's pushing it towards me. So I'll go back with that a little bit. This one actually will pull the door in or out. So if I turn it to the left, it'll actually push it towards you guys. And then there's one right in the middle here. Actually, can you see that one in the middle? That actually moves it up and down. And I need to go up with the door. So I need to, takes a little bit of torque. So that was about 2 notches up. And then I'll just do the same to the top here. Two notches up, and I'll just suck the top in a little bit. Now it closes, but if you just look at the margins and all the gaps, we just need to bring that top right up a little bit. And that's just something that at the end of the day, you just need to look at all the gaps, figure out, okay, does the door need to twist, or does it simply just need to move up? Or is it the other door? And just kind of weigh in all your options and take a look at both doors as a whole and make your adjustments, but everything's fully adjustable. As we install the sink doors, I notice that we have to just change out this little bar here. And this is a piece that will come with anything, with any lower cabinet that has doors. And it also has a few other features too. It has these L brackets. And this is just to give you a heads up on future stuff, like why do all these pieces show up. It's either for a drop down sink. I use them for a door stopper at the top. And then over here it just has these L brackets. So if you have a cabinet with just a false front and then short doors below, just gives you that option for that. So I'll just throw this in, and then that just allows when my doors have something to stop against at the top. So I'll just swap those out. Then I just install these. That'll just give me lots of cushion. I'll have to remove the little clear one that I put on already. Don't do it yet. Line it up. And then I just can adjust this forward if I need to adjust my doors. That concludes part 4. Thanks for tuning in. On part 5, this will look a whole lot different. We'll have the flooring in, the tile done. We'll show you how to install the range hood, the toe kicks, and we'll show you how to install the cabinet hardware, the door pulls and the drawer handles. Show you a quick and easy way to install those. So for today, thanks for tuning in, and next time we'll finish this thing off.